everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and this video is brought to you through the EA Creator Network. It is also tagged as an ad, as I did receive a free code for the early access of the brand new expansion for The Sims 4, which is of course Businesses and Hobbies. We are going to be checking out the Creator Sim in this video right here. This also isn't final software. I am fairly sure I'm going to talk about the issues and kind of things that I ran into that annoyed me about this pack whilst I was playing. Obviously, a lot of those will be coming in the gameplay overview, but there was definitely one thing in Creator Sim, and I think this has actually been introduced in the base game update, but feel free to correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But let's hop into Creator Sim. There are actually two new aspirations in this pack. The first one is Esteemed Entrepreneur. It's part of the popularity category. This sim wants to run a small business full of happy customers, either through business practices rooted in idealistic dreams or tricky hustles based on pragmatic schemes. This one is all about starting a business and then also making it grow throughout your time playing, how to get the alignment of either dreamer or schemer. Obviously, we will go through more of these like aspiration gameplay points in my gameplay overview, but have 20 customers visit, grow your small business to a striving startup, hire an employee and become friends with them, and then grow your small business to a neighborhood gem, which I think is actually only a level 3. I didn't even reach local legend. I'm going to assume that that's 4 or 5. It's kind of difficult to do, not gonna lie. And then the second one is more so about the mentorship that comes with it, and it's Master Mentor. This sim wants to learn from talented mentors, then pass that knowledge on to others. So this is about gaining a mentor, going up in your skills, attending hobby classes, becoming a mentor then to somebody else, teaching 5 hobby classes, achieve level 8 in 3 skills. I will say these ones are kind of challenging. Like level 10 in 3 skills, easy for my Nightmare Legacy heirs, but definitely not easy for a lot of sims. It's still not the hardest thing in the world, but I do like that it at least has a little bit of difficulty. And there are also 2 new traits. One of those is Idealist. These sims hold high moral standards and strive for a better world guided by their values and principles, committed to doing what they believe is right even when it's challenging. They do just have like a couple of new interactions. They can kind of just like inspire others. I didn't really notice too much when it came to Idealist sims. Obviously, it also affects their like whims and wants. Like mine kept wanting to actually give to charity, just like nice people who do nice things. And then also Shady. These sims excel at exploiting situations and bending rules for personal gain, often without regard for conventional ethics or fairness. They thrive in mischievous activities, can influence others to adopt their way of living. So these can actually pickpocket. I definitely think these are the more interesting sims out of the 2 traits that we receive. They're more likely to have businesses that go into the schemer business alignment. They can also have chance cards of like backstabbing people for promotions in their career. And finally, in the hobbies, likes and dislikes section, pottery and tattooing are both there as a like or a dislike. I will also point out the traits are only available for teenagers and above. Children cannot access those new traits. Moving on to the actual Creator Sim portion, we're going to start off with feminine sims. So they actually get 13 hairs, 3 hats, 7 accessories. 1 is a pair of earrings, 3 of them are glasses, 3 of them are necklaces, 13 tops, 9 bottoms, 13 full body outfits, 2 accessories, which are bracelets. 1 is technically an arm cuff, and then 5 pairs of shoes, for a total of 65 items. Don't really know how I feel about the hairs, to be honest. I do think there are some interesting hairstyles, okay? I do think there are some hairs that definitely kind of felt necessary, whereas some of them kind of just felt like redos of like hairstyles that we already have. I really like the, I don't even know what you would call it, like pixie cut. It's kind of like an alternative pixie with like baby bangs. Really, really love that one. Think that one is great. I also like the texture on the afro hairs an awful lot. I like the messy one that also allows you to like change your tips. I think that one was definitely needed. And I will also say a lot of the hairstyles that you see in feminine are also available for masculine, which I don't really have an issue with, but when it kind of feels like the shorter hairs are just like rehashes of what we already have, that's when it starts to stand out. Like, I like them being more equal, but I wish that masculine stuff felt like it wasn't really focused on and like didn't repeat what we already had. Overall, I do feel like there is a mix of stuff. So you kind of have that like business wear and business casual. Then you also have some like comfy, cozy, like kind of hand crocheted type stuff that feel very like homemade. And then on the other side, you kind of have more rebellious and alternative, and then also hobbies. So it feels like they've kind of done stuff for all age groups in terms of like young adult through to elders, especially more so in the full body assets. However, it does feel like nothing in particular was like hit. I feel a lot of the business wear, even though I've always said that I want more business stuff, it just felt a little bit flat, and they kind of took the scope too wide for me personally. That's not to say I don't like the assets. I do. I enjoy quite a lot of them, minus the leather like skirt and the leather trousers. I just think both of those could be done a lot better. The big tracksuit bottoms, hands down, some of my favorites that I've ever seen in the game. I love when they push the boat out on how things fit, especially when it's more oversized or they go more flared. I like the leather skirt. I don't know why. I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. There's just something about it where I can't really see much use out of it. And I will say, especially when it comes to the trousers, more so the one with the anchor, and then also the trousers with the kind of like leftover material that creates kind of an A-line. They feel very custom content. They feel as if they are kind of overshadowed in some parts, and the creases are really creased. Like, they stick out a lot. There's a lot of texture on them. I don't know if everyone is gonna vibe with that. It kind of pushes towards kind of an alpha territory when it comes to like overshadowing, and that's not a bad thing. I honestly don't mind that level of detail, but I definitely don't know if that's going to be for everyone. I personally kind of wish that they had pushed it to the more alternative just a little bit more. I say it time and time again, but I feel like we have so many like cozy jumpers and like dresses and stuff like that, where a lot of these dresses do feel quite similar to what we already have in the game. So I definitely maybe would have used the space to kind of push it to that more alternative like tattoo. I know not every tattoo artist dresses like alternatively, but I do definitely think that would have been fun. Here you can see me playing around with kind of the glitch, and it was affecting accessories. Now I'm really glad that they added the zoom when you look at the rings that the nails actually have in Create a Sim. However, I wish that it didn't do it for bracelets, if I'm being completely honest. And that's because, I mean, this expansion shows one of them is an arm cuff. So you just full on can't see the arm cuff unless you like zoom back out, but then you can't change the color or anything. It might be nitpicky, but it is kind of aggravating. And then also there was a glitch in Create a Sim. When you actually hit accessories, it usually shows all of the accessories. However, in the version of this game that I was playing, when I hit accessories, it only showed the top category. So I actually fully forgot to show necklaces on feminine sims, so don't worry, we do show that off in masculine. But I hope that that is ironed out soon, because that's going to be so annoying, and I feel like it's going to make people kind of assume that we just like don't have other accessories. You have to go into each accessory category, like glasses, necklaces, socks, etc., to be able to see them rather than seeing them in the full list. Really hope that is fixed soon, if it does actually make it into the official release, or if it already exists after the base game update. I haven't played around much in Create a Sim since that update. Masculine sims, I'm fairly sure, actually get one more asset. So they get 12 hairs, 1 facial hair, 3 hats, 6 accessories, 3 glasses, 3 necklaces, 20 tops, 11 7 bottoms, 6 full body outfits, 2 accessories, which are 2 bracelets, one is technically a watch, and then 5 pairs of shoes. And I think that makes a total of 66. I might have done my maths wrong. I do like the facial hair. It's actually an afro textured curly facial hair, which we don't get very often. I still would love to see more of them actually within base game, because I hate that you always have to pay for that representation. When it comes to the necklaces, we got this funky little necktie, which I actually really enjoy. Then we get a very chunky prue leaf even necklace, and then also this like gold layered necklace, which I think is really cool. I actually quite like the masculine creator sim. I was about to say I prefer it over the feminine, and then I remembered that actually it feels like, again, they used a lot of the same assets between masculine and feminine, which again, I don't mind as long as it doesn't feel like they're kind of just using that as a cop out to maybe not give masculine sims like as much, or kind of not their own sort of stuff. I like that it fits both body types well when it comes to that, but the stuff that masculine sims have that feminine sims don't have actually just again feels super similar to what they already have. I'm sick of the sweater vests that like hang off the shoulders and look like they fit awfully. We need to step away from sweater vests. We've got so many pretty much since high school years. Then we got like shirts and like hoodies. I would have definitely preferred in the masculine range more of like workwear. I really like the jacket that kind of feels like a cropped kind of Carhartt. I just think they played it a little bit too safe when it came to masculine wear, and I would have definitely loved to see more workwear and just zhuzhing it up a little bit. Again, trousers feel like a lot of trousers that we have. I'm consistently saying it at this point, but I love when they play around with cuts and like fits of fabric. It's why I really like the overleaf like extra fabric trouser, because it feels kind of androgynous. It feels like they're actually stepping out of their comfort zone, whereas so many of them feel so similar. And I wish that they played around with like different cuts. I wish that we had, maybe this is the Kendrick effect, but maybe some like boot cut, like changing up jeans, giving us different fits. That's the kind of stuff I want to see for masculine creator sim. However, I do really like this full body outfit. Wish there was a version of that one with the hood, with the hoodie down, just because I think personally I would get more use out of it. I love giving my sims like bigger ears, and they just pop out of it when they have their hood up. And I just think it adds a bit more versatility, which I think, I'm gonna say it again, masculine creator sim needs versatility. I don't mind if they actually give us 2 versions of like a similar outfit, but with kind of different details, like the hood up and the hood down. But really, I just need to see them step out of their comfort zone. I'm sick of seeing the same old thing for masculine sims, and I'm sick of saying it, to be honest. I know it's always a point of feedback for me, but I always want to say it because I think that it's necessary. Obviously, tattooing is very much a big thing in this expansion. We have the new tattooing career, so you will actually see in this first portion a lot of the tattoos are locked, and they actually get unlocked like as you progress through your tattoo skill, as you tattoo more sims, and also on the iPad, like the drawing pad, you can actually create tattoo designs for 50 simoleons, and that will actually, like as you progress through all of those things, will unlock those tattoos in Creator Sim, which I really like. I'm also fairly sure there will be a cheat that you can use to actually unlock all of these. I will test that in my Creator Sim and obviously include it in this video if I do find it. So there are some botanical tattoos. There's also some kind of like Celtic looking tattoos. I don't know if that's maybe what they were going for. There is also in the locked versions, there are like bad versions of tattoos that you can only unlock by doing bad tattoos on that spot on a sim, which is quite fun. And then also we saw this in the base game update, but you can now change the opacity, you can change the saturation, the color. So it actually allows way more flexibility when it comes to tattoos in the game. I still am not a massive fan of the layering. This happens in the like tattoo business as well when you're doing tattooing, but there's no way to kind of see what what a sim already has on their body. And if you choose one that like overlaps, it just overlaps. Like there's no resizing, there's no placement. So I kind of wish that we had free placement the same way we did in The Sims 3. It still feels kind of restricted and it can get pretty messy. Then obviously we also have the paint tool. I do a terrible job at showing this off. There are definitely people out there who are gonna do a much better job than I ever could, but I kind of wanted to see what you could use it for. My one piece of feedback in this is I wish that you could change the brush size. I wish that you could make it even smaller, specifically for the stamps, because what if you wanted to use that handprint as like your child's handprint, but it's so huge and I took it down to like the smallest brush size and it did not make a difference. Like it was still absolutely massive. But I do think that with the addition of like all this paint tools, you're just gonna have more freedom to kind of add more details to your Sim's skin. So you can like play with the opacity and like the strength of a brush, which means that you can add freckles. You can use some of the stencils for like stretch marks, kind of any discoloration of the skin that you want. You can use these for that. And I just think that is honestly gonna help inclusion so much and representation, because if you were like, oh, I wish my Sim could have this like detail that I have, like I have a mole on my right arm and I've never been able to have that in The Sims, but now on my Sim self, I could just go on and put that mole on in paint mode. So I do think it opens up a lot. Obviously, you can also then, I'm fairly sure, upload those to the gallery. I haven't played around with that. I don't really know how it's going to work. We don't have access to the gallery in this like early build. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how the free movement tattoos can maybe be uploaded. Once again, I want to point out, if you see anything hateful, derogatory, anything that should not be on the gallery, report it. I know I showed you all the tattoos on a masculine Sim, however, they are also all available for feminine Sims as well. The tattoos are just unlocked the regular way in Create a Sim, which is of course by hitting Control-Shift-C, typing in testing cheats on, and then using CAS.unlock by tag EP18. That is the expansion pack code. You don't have to cheat to get these. You can actually level up in your tattoo skill. You can draw tattoo designs actually on the iPad. Those will actually be on a canvas, kind of like the painting, like the drawings that we're used to seeing already. The bad tattoos are really the only ones that you can't like change the colors on. You can't change the saturation of those at all. You can only mess with the opacity. I have to say, I do think the Judith Ward face one is my favorite, which is a leg tattoo. That's just so funny to me, because Judith Ward is literally the Sim in my game who will just like flirt with so many people and have like so many different relationships. And I can imagine this like long list of lovers all getting a really bad tattoo of her on their leg. Again though, I do wish that you could resize these tattoos. I know you can layer them, but it just doesn't feel like it's really hitting the spot that I want it to. I would love to be able to create like different patterns with these tattoos, and I think resizing them would honestly add so much customizability. So that is definitely my biggest feedback when it comes to tattoos that you can unlock throughout gameplay, and then also just the stamps like I already mentioned. Unfortunately, younger Sims do not get a look in, so children actually have the most. Children can actually also own businesses, which I think is kind of fun. But children get 6 hairs, 2 hats, 3 tops, 1 set of bottoms, and then 4 full body outfits for a total of 16. The 6 hairs are all adult hairs, so they don't have anything that kind of feels like childish, which I would love to see the reintroduction of. I don't mind them having hairs like sized down from adults, but again, kind of like the masculine Sims, I don't want to see that wipe out those like kiddish hairstyles, and I think that that has definitely been a trend recently, so I would definitely like to see that improved. I adore the little dungarees. They're like my favorite asset, and I'm gonna use it on so many children. Then for toddlers, they actually don't get any hairs. They get 2 hats available to them and then 3 outfits, which are like cute, but that's barely anything. And then infants are the same. They don't even get the 2 hats. They actually just get 2 full body outfits. One of them is obviously a raccoon outfit. It's like cutesy, but at this point I feel like infants are falling so far behind when it comes to Create a Sim, especially in like hairstyles. Like they never ever get new hairstyles. All in all, I do think it's a usable Create a Sim. If you have all of the packs, then I don't really feel like there's anything in this Create a Sim specifically that you're really gonna feel like you're missing out on. There isn't anything that's like super standout for me. I feel like if you do have different like packs and you can kind of find stuff similar. I think Snowy Escape has quite similar stuff. Eco Lifestyle, Discover University, Cats and Dogs even, with like the turtleneck. A lot of the kits I feel have like similar stuff at the minute. Again, that is coming from a person who is lucky enough and privileged enough to have all of the packs. So clearly there is going to be some like overlap there. It's kind of why I wish they had gone down a bit more of like an alternative route or like a rebellious kind of route, because I do think they definitely could have played around with stuff a little bit more. It just felt like they were trying to do a little bit too much with too little, with focusing on the hobbies, and then also they've really been trying to focus on elders recently. It feels like there's a lot of legacy based stuff in the gameplay. I felt that way with Life and Death, so it feels like they're trying to include elders, which is nice when it comes to Create a Sim, but when they kind of don't also have like gameplay that goes along with it. It's the same with like kids. Like, yeah, kids get some stuff in here, but they really don't get that much new gameplay. Like, all they can really do is own a business. And apart from that, they don't get like any new hobbies that's directed towards them. There's like nothing for them to do in like after school clubs. It's just kind of disappointing. Having said all that, Create a Sim is my passion for fashion. And so I do want to give a couple of highlights. I think the long blazer with the shorts in the full body outfit for the feminine is absolutely stunning, especially if you don't have kits that kind of resemble that. The fur coat, again, in feminine outfits, love her. The masculine leather jacket is pretty cool. I love all of the dungarees. So glad we got more dungas, obviously. And also the corduroy flares, because I do feel what this does do well is kind of lean on that vintage a little bit more. It definitely feels like there are some kind of reused clothes and like older style of clothing. It's a little bit like 70s and 80s in some forms, and I do like that about this Create a Sim. I would love to know what you all think about this Create a Sim. Do you agree with me? Are there some stuff that you're like, no, I absolutely am interested in having it for this reason or that reason? I think the hairstyles, honestly, were probably my main point, and obviously the new tattoos, but I love new tattoos, so that's definitely not surprising. I think that would be my biggest pull towards this pack. But again, a lot of people are going to be uploading stuff onto the gallery that you can then download. So maybe just like wait and see to see what like creators can do. Because I definitely think those paint tools are going to do some incredible stuff. I appreciate you all tuning in. I'm going to have my gameplay overview up tomorrow. It's going to be about 4 p.m. UK time. It's going to be linked at the end of this video once it's up. So please go watch that to get all the details about how everything in live mode works for this pack, from being a customer to running a business to family recipes, all of it. And I will speak to you all then. Bye now.